This is the press conference for the second day of the 2017 Don Lane Classic as we wrap up an 80-77 win for the Transylvania Pioneers men's basketball team over the Guilford Quakers at Don Lane Court. With us on the dais this evening is junior forward Bo Schuh, freshman guard Michael Jefferson, and 17th year head coach of the Pioneers and son of the aforementioned Don Lane. Brian Lane will begin up this press conference with an opening statement from head coach Brian Lane.
Man, has it been that long?
17
years.
years.
17 years. I was really proud of the way that we came out and responded early on, especially just starting from our preparation this morning, because last night's game against Emory and Henry was a tough blow for us because we had that game in a really good spot, and then the trickle, we let it get away from us, and I knew that coming back anytime you come back after a game like that, it's very difficult. And we came in and the mental preparation was there. We had a little bounce in our step, and that shows a team that's evolving and has good leadership and understands the importance of the mental game. And so once we got into the game, I thought we were able to respond. It was a very short prep, very short time. We watched probably too much video this morning, which was, but we did it instead of being out on the court, because I thought that having our legs was going to be key. We really focused in on the defensive aspects of it, and then I think it certainly showed. I mean, we held them to 54% from the field and 52 from three, but with the defense, that was the key, was the free throw defense. 38%.
Really good job.
Was really, really good. And so that's something that we're all going to ask Santa for. We're going to ask for a little help with our defense, and then hopefully come back from Christmas. Christmas is Bo's favorite
best holiday. Holiday ever.
It's his best holiday. So he has a personal relationship with Santa, and so hopefully he can get Santa to make sure that happens to some of our other guys.
For the players, what's the challenge of playing these ODAC schools? Last night we saw the bigs for Emory and Henry doing a lot of things. Tonight there were different modes of attacks. How did you handle each of these teams from one night to the next? And also if you can describe the challenges of having to, as Coach Lane alluded to, having to prep for a very short amount of time for today's opponent.
I think like the biggest thing with these two teams was the physicality. HCAC is it's physical, but it's more like perimeter play with a lot of shooting, a lot of guard driving. The past 2 days we played teams who have had really physical bigs who are also really big, so even their guards were physical. That number 14 was pretty big and he was physical down low, so I would say the biggest thing would be physicality. I think the biggest thing that this tournament teaches us is that when we come to the HCAC tournament later on this year, we're going to have to play 2 or 3 games in a row on consecutive days, so this is kind of like good practice just to be able to play multiple games in a row with the energy and basically the energy we need.
Yeah, and preparing for like these short turnaround games, we pretty much do the same thing just in a shorter time period. So when we play AAU, it's the same thing. You just gotta go quick, I guess.
And for Mike, our stat of the day is Transylvania is now 5-1 in games in which Michael puts up 4 or more assists tonight. You had 6 assists. What are you seeing out there, and how are these opportunities cresting again and again on every seemingly possession? And we haven't even gotten to your field goal percentages yet.
Yeah, I think it's just taking what the defense gives me. Like, we run a bunch of flare screens, curls, just whatever, and Gabe's a great shooter, so I look for him a bunch.
You were 7 for 7 from the field.
Speaking of Gabe, this weekend really overall, especially tonight, it seemed like the defenders game planned for him extensively and made sure he had absolutely no airspace. What did you guys have to do to help him out to make sure when the ball was ending in possessions in the hands of others that it was still a valuable possession?
Well, we didn't do well in Emory and Henry. We didn't screen for him well. So today we kind of tried to what's the word? Specify the screen. Getting him screened.
Nice diction.
Yeah. So he could get open.
And then the beautiful thing about that is that gets Gabe open shots, but also since everyone's so focused on him, that gets everyone else open shots from slips and back screens, because everyone's so focused on Gabe that when we start screening for him, our screening overall gets better. So then we start screening for each other better, which leads to open layups for everybody.
Coach, maybe if you can quickly take a look back at this weekend, were there any particular performances that you were surprised by or really pleased with?
Well, Bo had missed 5 straight practices and then practiced one day, and then came into the game last night and was able to hit a few. And so him actually playing in these 2 games was a big positive that I wasn't expecting. Michael is a player that he goes 7 for 7 from the field today, and I believe that's tying a world record, for field goal percentage. But he doesn't play like it's his first year in college, and what has really helped when guys are running the floor, he really has his eyes up and he's looking to see where he can advance it. And a lot of times he'll pass it, but a lot of times he can see who he can take off the dribble and then finish at the rim. And then Kyle Gullett last night was really, really solid. And then today he had 17 points in the first half, which got us really into a good position. Then they tried to adjust how they were guarding, and he ended up 3 for 5 from the 3-point line. Gabe only attempted 3 threes, making 2 of them, but being able to kind of move around each and every night. The mark of a good team is somebody different, really stepping up and being a effective person. I thought Spencer McKinney gave us a really big lift off the bench, and then while Cooper didn't have a field goal, made all of his free throws tonight, but was a leader out there, and during a time where we needed some guidance and needed some lift because we had done some defensive adjustments that flat out didn't work, and then from that we could have gone in 2 different directions, and one would have been really bad and it would have not been good for the holidays. And then but Cooper was a guy that was really rallying the troops, and that's the mark of a good leader. Even though he wasn't having the best field goal night, he was still able to do it.
7 assists though.
7 assists.
Yeah.
This 8th edition for your team at the Donald Lane Classic had some interesting parallels. Both nights you play against talented ODAC schools. Both nights your teams build double-digit leads and then see them go by the wayside. Both nights Kyle Gullett goes off for big double-digit scoring games. The difference is on the first night, while you couldn't hold on to the lead or get it back, tonight when the lead was dwindling, this team was seemingly able to buckle down and make changes. What was the difference from last night versus tonight? What kind of adjustments did you make in order to make sure you're able to take back that lead and seize the end of the game?
Well, the biggest thing was we talked about having to get key stops and rebound the basketball, because last night we just couldn't get a stop, and when you're not getting stops, it's really hard to outscore and get back to where we needed to go. We were really close. I mean, it was a 2-point game, and Emory Henry's going to be a top 25 team and be in the NCAA tournament. They were picked 4th in their league. Guilford, who we just beat, was preseason number 1 and went to the NCAA tournament last year.
Champions.
Yeah. And we set this schedule up this year because we felt like these guys could handle a national schedule, and we wanted our strength of schedule to be something that where towards the end of the year the committee was going to be able to look at our strength of schedule and our body of work and say, okay, that's a team that ventured out and did what they needed to do nationally. So, but getting stops was the biggest thing. And then they're late. We did some adjustments on ball screens and started guarding a couple people that we weren't guarding, which was helpful. And we've been able to mix up zones. Was there anything else that we switched up that you all thought was key?
Only 10 turnovers.
10 turnovers was really good, especially with a team. When you have an assist-to-turnover ratio like we did, 17 assists and only 10 turnovers. When we led the nation in the fewest turnovers in the country, number 1 out of 440, I think we averaged around 10.
It's another evening where your team shoots either above or very near 50% from the field, and we've seen this. It's now 9 games into the season. It's becoming a trend. Why do these shots keep going in and seemingly on such a consistent basis?
I think it's because we have so many people who can score this year. Last year we relied a lot on Alex Jones and a couple other guys and Gabe and Spencer to make threes, but this year we have, at seemingly every time, at any point in the game, we have 5 guys on the floor who can score the ball. So it's a lot easier when that's the case, because then the defense is maybe focused on Gabe, which leaves someone else wide open. So, I mean, I know today whenever we run that elbow 2 cheat, they're so worried about Gabe coming off that screen that when I pop off of that 3, there's nobody near me because they're all running after Gabe. So it's just everyone has the ability to score this year, which just kind of gives everyone open shots, which is easy to knock down as a college athlete. So our field goal percentage is really high.
And we're very unselfish. I mean, it's a team that, like, you never look and see, okay, that guy's trying to get his. I mean, we passed the ball. We were able to get the ball reversed a lot tonight. And then that was something that we were wanting to do, because the more times that you can get the ball reversed, you know, the percentages go up. And so getting it around, getting open, we didn't call as many sets tonight. We let them play hoops, as we like to say, and because of that, it was a little bit more difficult to guard.
Okay, well, on a light note for everybody, all 3 of you, doesn't matter the particular order. We have hit Christmas break.
That's holiday.
2 games next week, Birmingham Southern. We can feel your passion from behind the screen, Bo. But before we take on Birmingham Southern and Emory next week, what is each person here looking most forward to for Christmas?
Either we're going to go to Festival of Lights up in Cincinnati Zoo, that's like my favorite thing ever, or my mom promised me that she would sit everybody down and watch Elf with me, which everyone hates to do because I recite about 90% of the movie when I watch it. So everyone's just got to kind of suck it up and listen to it because it's my favorite movie.
I would say just spending time with family and friends.
And that's the thing that people don't understand. We started 2 weeks early because of our trip to the Dominican Republic, and I think all of our guys, when they go home, and we'll help remind them, but there is a time where you know that you're really thankful for things. And then after a trip to the Dominican Republic, where we were able to experience some things that these guys never have, we can go home and yes, gifts are nice, and being with family is nice, but just being extremely thankful for what God has provided in all of our lives. And I told them down earlier today before we left the locker room, you're in a place where the people really care about you. You're in a locker room where your teammates love you and have your back and want you to be as successful as possible. And when that environment and that culture is there, you have a potential to be very, very good, and you have a potential to be a very special team. So, you know, just being able to spend a little time with my family, travel a little bit to my wife's family down in Tennessee, but being able to be back, and then we'll probably watch a little tape and try to get ready for the second half of the season after Christmas. But this is a time where our guys can really get away a little bit and enjoy the family, enjoy the downtime, but be ready to go when we get back.
Coach Wilt put on all fronts, and once again wrapping up an 80-77 victory for Transylvania over Guilford to wrap up the 8th annual Don Lane Classic on a high note. The Don Lane Classic presented by Kentucky Health Administrators, as well as E-Coach once again, junior forward Bo Schuh, freshman guard Michael Jefferson, and 17th year head coach Brian Lane. Congratulations on this great win. Congratulations on the season thus far, now 7-2 on this young, budding, hopeful season, and happy holidays once again.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.